Hi, me, Marilyn Price, hiding behind ye old book of arts and letters, filled with my favorite thing ever. So I'm going to let you see, because we here at the Mentor Project love to teach and we love to share what we know. And this is one thing that I know, and that is the alphabet. Lots of different kinds of alphabets in our world, but we're going to start with this one. Whoops, this alphabet. Starting with the letter A and ending. Oop, who is down? Mrs. Goose. What you doing? You eating? Mm-hmm. Starting with the ending with the letter C. It's an old familiar song we could sing if that was our game plan for today. But oh, G, G. That's not our game plan. I'm gonna cover up the G that is peeking up from behind my head and introduce you to my left-handed friend. She's not left-handed, nor am I actually, but Mrs. Goose, right here, Mrs. Goose. Are you? See who's there? Mm-hmm. Look him out. Yeah, what do you think? Did you lose your voice again? Should I find it for you? Okay. Should we use your honk? That would be good. Okay. Or would you like a voice today? Just the honk? You sure? Positive. You have a little script. Let me see. You look okay. All right. Well, here is what we plan to do for you. Mrs. Goose is very anxious to introduce you to her favorite letter, which is the letter G. Now, why do you think she thinks the letter G is such a great letter? Because it starts her name off. Exactly. So, what our plan today is to find as many things that start with the letter G, to think about them, and then we're going to add the next time's letter, and then put together a story just for you. That doesn't start with a G, does it? Mm-mm. Does not. Can you think of another word that starts with G? You going to tell me? You're not. Well, it's a problem with working with your left hand. As much as I love you, Mrs. Goose, you have to share your feelings. You don't want to. Okay, well, maybe later. That would be great. Matter of fact, that would not only be great, that would be good. And very, need I say, generous of you. How many was that? 4. Do you have any out there? Do you have any G words? I have one. I think you're going to recognize it right away when I lift it up. It is green. Ha ha. Uh-huh. Mrs. Goose, which starts with a G, not Mrs., but Goose. Do you have any friends that are green? Did you bring any one of them along to the studio today? Oh, do you think he'd like to come up here and say what he says? Okay, we'll just bring up the little dude. We have a whole bunch of them in our house, and I think you're going to know right away who it is. Are you ready? Very good friends, dear friends. You know what is really good about them? They begin and end with the same letter. So, for example, Mrs. Goose starts with the letter G, and Frog ends with the letter G. And in the middle, they love each other. An odd pair if you saw them walking down the street, to be sure, but definitely bookends of good stories. Did I say good stories? I did. Good. How generous of me. How great of me. Golly. There's another one. Golly. Okay, I'm going to. Would you like to say your line for our show today? Gribbit, gribbit, gribbit. That's what Froggy says. Well, that's at least what we attribute to Froggy. So let's talk about some other G words, like good G words. Okay, just the generous, good, great, golly, good words. You want to whisper some in my ear? I don't know if you have any ears out there to whisper into, but Mrs. Goose just gave me a string of G words. And you know what she said we ought to do? She said we should write some. So with a little help from her getting the cap off, I'm going to put the G words on here and see if you would be good enough to join me in figuring out what some of those words put together would make in the story. For example, I keep saying this one of my favorites. I hope it'll come out. Oh, not terribly strong. Let me try the other green to see if that's darker. And I don't like to make you work too hard. Thank you, Mrs. Goose. This is a darker green. Whew. Oh, I definitely a gooder green. Good green. So maybe the other one is so silent it could always be a ghost. So I see the beginning of a story here about a good green ghost. And oh, how are we going to make him do what? Go. How are we going to make him be gone, the good green ghost? But he's a good green ghost. Oh, here's another problem. What is it? He's a giant? How do we know that? I don't know. So we got another word up here. We got giant. Is the giant good green ghost going to be gone? Or can we make him go? Or maybe it isn't a him. Maybe it's a they? We don't know because we don't know the good green ghost yet. But we're gonna. Oh, did you hear that one? Did you like it? You don't like that word. I like gonna. I'm gonna put gonna up here. Whoa. Oh, I think we have them. Wait, it's my other favorite word. Do you think that the good ghost is generous? Oh, I know another word. You know what? This fits into our story well. Another G word. You ready? You want to guess it? Okay, you want to guess it in my ear? Or you want to say it out loud? Uh-huh. Did you hear that? She said grumpy. Yeah. And wouldn't you be grumpy if everybody wanted you to be gone? Oh. And do you know what would happen if the good, generous giant got, this is not a G word, but it fits, married or connected or partnered up and had a baby, and they had a baby, he would be a grandpa. I love the way this is going. Okay? How about you? Do you love it? Mm-hmm. Should we tell a story? We'll make it up right as we stand. Mrs. Goose, whatever. I'm sorry, I should tell you. When you're putting back your tops on your markers, don't use your mouth. I mean, after all, you know, Mrs. Goose does different things than we do. But she was helping me, and that was very generous of her. Okay. So do you want to tell the story? Should I? You want to tell it yourself? Okay. So Mrs. Goose, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all kinds, I would like to introduce you to the goose, who will be the master of the story as he tells all about the, you want to read it? Okay. I just want to tell it. She's going to look at the words behind me. Okay, here we go. Mm-hmm. Awesome job. Did you love it? What? You don't speak goose? Oh, you want me to interpret for you? All right, this is how it goes. I'm going to let you look at the words and check them off with me. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'll just underline them so we can use them again. Get. Did you get? Oh, pardon me. Got that one. Got, get. Here we go. Once upon a time, there was a grumpy. Oh, draw that one. Giant goose. Oh, who was actually a ghost. This grumpy giant ghost goose was really very generous, but he was also so grumpy because he was hungry. There's a G in hungry. We're going to use it. Hungry. And he decided to go for a ride to get some good grubs. And he did. And as he was walking along, who should he see but his old friend George, who was walking down the street with Gertrude. And when they saw the good, grumpy, generous ghost, they said, "How goes it?" And he said, "Grrr," which was a very sad face to do. Poor grumpy ghost. So you know what they did? They took the grumpy ghost, got him some new gear, and they went on a ride in a great green truck, a garbage truck. And he loved it because he loved garbage trucks. They make such a good grunky noise. When they got to where they were going, they sat down at George's General Store and had a lovely meal. And you know what happened to that grumpy ghost grandpa? He was all fed and happy, and he loved the letter G. Well, Mrs. Goose, that was a beautiful story we told, don't you think? And we made it all up mostly with words that come from the letter G. A good letter, a great letter. So, Mrs. Goose, let me write the beginning of your name out. What's your second letter? Do you know? You want to tell everyone? Oh, so keeping that in mind, the goose and I are going to introduce you to the next letter we will use in our ongoing series called What Do You Do If You Got One Letter and It Likes to Be Used a Lot? The first thing we're doing to do right now is to go. Can you help me out with that? Thank you, Mrs. Goose. You are a good old friend. And so here we are, Marilyn Price at the Mentor Project, Mrs. Goose with Marilyn Price at the Mentor Project, and all of my friends that help make this a good opportunity to hang out, be together, and tell stories. And that is the good news, which is the news that we really like. So joining me in saying goodbye is my friend the goose, wishing you a good day with lots of great dreams and great opportunities. And that, my friends, is the